In today's video, we are going to dive into how the feud between Tommy Lee Sparta and Crayman started in Montego Bay. This story has layers of friendship, betrayal, street politics, and the consequences of power. Both men were once close, but things spiraled into one of the most infamous rivalries in dance hall and street history. At the beginning, Sparta was not divided. It was one united crew, with Tommy Lee and Crayman standing strong at the front. Tommy Lee had the influence of music, while Crayman had the respect of the streets. Tommy Lee Sparta was a rising force in dancehall. His fame gave him connections, money, and a voice that reached far beyond Montego Bay. Everywhere he went, his name carried weight. Crayman, on the other hand, wasn't in the spotlight of entertainment. His credibility came directly from the streets. He was known as a real OG, someone who had proven himself in Montego Bay. Together, the two men were respected by many. People looked up to them because they balanced each other out. One brought fame, the other brought raw street power. But as time went on, Crayman started building more and more influence. His name was heating up in the streets, and people began following his moves. This made him a figure of authority, not just a partner. Eventually, Crayman moved to the United States. Living overseas gave him space, but it also created distance between him and Tommy Lee. While he was away, the balance in Montego Bay shifted. During this time, Tommy Lee reportedly ordered a hit on one of Crayman's right-hand men. The incident allegedly went down around businesses tied to Crayman in Montego Bay. That move was seen as a direct strike. When word reached Crayman, the friendship was completely broken. The two men could no longer be seen as allies. Instead, they became enemies locked in a power struggle. Tommy Lee, knowing the situation was getting dangerous, made a move to Kingston. He left Montego Bay with his crew to avoid direct confrontation. This relocation created a new era for Sparta. Around this time, Crayman's troubles in the U.S. began to surface. He was facing serious issues that almost led to deportation. Even though he avoided being sent back, the pressure was on him. While Crayman was dealing with those challenges, Tommy Lee began solidifying his new crew in Kingston. This crew would be called Downtown Sparta. It was a direct reflection of the split from the original Sparta. Back in Montego Bay, Crayman still had his supporters and influence. People who were loyal to him held their ground. The original Sparta name was now divided in two. Tommy Lee, however, was not just dealing with Crayman. He had another major enemy, the rebel gang. This rivalry added fuel to an already dangerous fire in the streets. The feud between Crayman and Tommy Lee soon turned deadly. Close friends and associates from both sides lost their lives. Each incident made the hatred grow deeper. The people of Montego Bay watched as the two once powerful friends destroyed each other's legacies. Their war left scars that could not easily be healed. Families, businesses, and entire communities were affected. Imagine if Tommy Lee and Crayman had chosen peace instead of conflict. With their influence combined, they could have changed Montego Bay for the better. Their leadership could have turned the city into a symbol of power and progress. But the reality was different. Both men loved the energy of proving their dominance. Each move they made was about sending a message to the other. The violence between their crews created fear. Streets that were once filled with normal activity became hotspots for conflict. People always had to watch their backs. Tommy Lee's fame made the feud even more public. Being a dance hall artist meant that everything he did was magnified. His music career was intertwined with the street politics he was tied to. Crayman, meanwhile, carried the raw respect of being a street soldier. People admired him for staying true to the code. His presence was enough to make people listen. But instead of finding a way to use their combined power, they chose separation. The split of Sparta created confusion and division among their followers. Loyalty was tested in every corner. Over time, the feud became less about friendship and more about pride. Neither side wanted to back down. Each wanted to prove that they were the real face of Sparta. The deaths that followed took a toll on everyone connected. Mothers lost sons, friends lost brothers, and communities lost leaders. It was a heavy price for a rivalry that could have been avoided. Tommy Lee tried to maintain dominance in Kingston, but he could never fully escape the weight of the feud. Montego Bay was always tied to his name, and so was Crayman. The conflict followed him. For Crayman, the street respect remained, but the war overshadowed the loyalty he once enjoyed. His legacy became mixed with bloodshed and broken alliances. It was a story of power lost to ego. If peace had been chosen, the city would have seen a different future. The amount of influence they both carried could have united the younger generation. Instead, Montego Bay became a battleground. This story stands as a reminder of how friendship can turn into rivalry when power and ego collide. Tommy Lee Sparta and Crayman once shared the same vision, but in the end, they destroyed it with war. Their choices left behind a legacy of division instead of unity.